Hi, today we are going to be talking about how deep unknown trauma interferes in your relationship and what is the impact it further has. Okay, now let's take a real life example of how this trauma interferes. This trauma, I'm saying that using the word trauma, it could be emotional pain, it could be hurt, it could be a wound inside of you. So any of these, for today's talk, I'll be using the word trauma or the emotional pain. Let's take a real life example. I met one couple today morning. They are going to get married only in sorry, they're going to get married in December. And in India, it's a very typical setting of arranged marriages, right? Now they have got engaged, and they've spent little time with each other. They've spent just about a month with each other, and this is the time now that the date of marriage is finalized. They went out for shopping. When they went for shopping, the girl was trying some dresses, and she would wear those dresses and come out and ask her fiance as to how she's looking in that dress. Is that dress good or not? Should she be buying or not? So those are the things she was asking him. And he looked at her and he would say, yeah, it's okay. If you like it, you can buy it, or we can buy it. That's perfectly okay. And she tried two three dresses, two three places she went. Each time she was trying a dress, his response was just the same, saying that, see, if you like it, we can go ahead buying this. It all depends on whether you feel good after wearing it or not. Now, when he said this, she felt very disheartened. She felt frustrated. She started crying. She thought that what kind of man is this who's just, not even, he can't even say whether I'm looking good or not. And he's giving a very neutral answer. Now, if you take this example, this lady is operating from the space of hurt. She's operating from the space of some deep trauma inside her. She's not aware what that trauma is. Most of us are not aware of what the trauma might be. Some of it we might know, most of it we don't know. So her reaction is coming from the place of deep emotional pain, because she is getting disgruntled and she's even thinking whether he's the right person for her or not, based on this kind of an interaction where he refused to comment on whether she's looking good or not looking good in the dress that she was trying out. Okay, now when she cried, or she felt sad, or she felt angry, agitated, when she was speaking with me in the morning, she was quite agitated, loaded with anger. Now all that those emotions that are surfacing are the outcome, anger or frustration, or her sadness, or her doubt whether she should marry him or not. They are emerging. That's the outcome which is emerging out of the deep trauma inside. Okay, similarly, let's take another example wherein um husband and a wife, or two friends are sitting, and you tend to share something important about yourself, or as a wife you've shared something um, about your family, which is very important. Whatever that information is, that information is very important to you for whatever reasons it might be. But you're sharing that information. You could be sharing that information with your boyfriend, okay, because you want transparency in the relationship. So you're just sharing, wanting your partner to know certain things. So when you shared, what did you see? You realize that your partner got upset, your partner got angry, even though it had nothing to do with him. Still, whatever you shared, it led to the response where he showed anger, or he got upset, or there was silence for a few days, or he's very uncomfortable with the information you gave him, and he's not talking to you for some time, or he has become little rude, or he's maintaining some distance, whatever it might be. even though it had nothing to do with him, but this is how he's responding, this is how his reaction is. Okay, now at that point in time, in that situation, you got to realize that the other person is coming from the space of hurt inside, the other person is coming from the space of emotional pain inside. The person is not aware of it, but the reactions, the responses are showing that this has to do with the internal pain. Now when these kind of things surface and you don't do anything about it, later on this interferes in your relationship. You might take it for, now say for instance, this couple that I met and who's getting married in December, and if they don't do anything about it and just let it be, thinking that marriage is going to settle it down, after they get married, this is going to aggravate. Okay, so it is always this deep trauma which comes in the way of our relationship, not before marriage, not just before marriage, but even after marriage, and the later implications are in the time when the couple wants to conceive. When you want to conceive and it is not happening, the reason behind that is there is deep trauma rooted inside, because of which the conception is not happening, or to say the least, conception is not happening naturally, because this trauma is stored in the body. And if the conception is not happening, it is because the body starts to rebel, or let's use a better word, that body is trying to communicate, body is giving you a certain message that this trauma inside needs to heal, after which then it is ready to create new life within it. Now the trauma can be with the woman, the trauma can be with the man, the trauma can be with both of them. It's not one person to be blamed, but it's both of them. And then the woman's body or even the man's body begins to rebel. And how do you know? You might say that, come on, there are a lot of people who undergo trauma and still they conceive. Now, that being the case, you will realize that there are many children who are, the newborns. The moment they are born, they are to be, placed in ICU for some time. For some of those newborns, the heart is not functioning. For some, the lungs are not functioning. For some, there could be physical deformities. That's where your body has transferred that trauma to the child. That's an evidence of it. So many miscarriages happen. That's an evidence that body is trying to tell you that there is a trauma inside. Heal that trauma before you're ready for conception. So whether it is building the relationship, or whether it is conceptions, preferably conceiving naturally, you got to heal the deep trauma inside before the conception can happen. There are also those cases where you would see that first child was conceived, but the second child you're having issues, you're having troubles, and you're not able to conceive. That's because the trauma has showed up to say, heal me, treat me first, and then I'm going to help you to conceive. Okay, now trauma is the cause of it, and you see how it interferes in the relationship, how it also interferes in you becoming parents, right? So this time I decided I am going to bring you a live webinar for all those of you who are, and couples, right, who are wanting to conceive, preferably naturally, and you have tried everything but nothing has worked for you. So helping couples to conceive naturally, that's the preferred mechanism, in a way that the conception becomes easy, by way of healing the trauma inside. Because I had been doing a lot of research with Dr. Pallavi, who's a gynecologist and also a fertility specialist, wherein we concluded that inability to conceive is rooted in deep trauma, just as inability to build a deep relationship is rooted in trauma. Inability to conceive naturally is also rooted in deep trauma. So if you are one of those who's not able to conceive in spite of all the interventions you might have taken, then this webinar is for you. If you know somebody who is having a hard time and who has tried level best to conceive, age is going by, and really wishes to have a child in their life, or in cases where you have got one child and you're now looking for second one but somehow it is not happening, you're looking forward to natural conception, then this webinar is for you. This is the webinar which Dr. Pallavi and I are going to be doing it together, and we will be bringing this webinar to you on 10th of October at 6:30 p.m. I am going to be leaving the link to the webinar in a while. It's not right now with me. I'm going to be leaving that link. All you will need to do is to click on that link, or if you know somebody, pass on that link to that person so that you can have this webinar for you and understand what is it that might be stopping you, what kind of issues might have stopped you from conceiving, and what is the way forward. Now, we are going to be having this webinar on 10th of October. Mark your date if you're going to be attending it, and if you're going to be circulating it, let them also know that 10th of October, 7th, 8th, 9th, sorry, 9th of October, which is a 7th, 8th, 9th, sorry, 9th of October, 6:30 p.m. It's a Sunday. It is going to be 1.5 hours long webinar. Register it. It's a free registration. And I am going to be, Dr. Pallavi and I are going to be seeing you in that webinar. All right. That's it from me to you today. And I am going to be seeing you tomorrow, 3:30. In a while, I will be sending you the link for this webinar registration. Thank you. You take care and bye.